Day 1, he says hello. Day 17, he asks for money. That gap isn't an accident. It isn't romance moving at its own pace. It's a schedule. And once you see the schedule, you can't unsee it in every single message that follows. 17 days isn't a guess. It's a median pulled from the Federal Trade Commission's own reporting database, the same one that logs hundreds of thousands of fraud complaints a year. Researchers who study these cases found that the gap between first contact and the first request for money clusters tightly around this window. Not hours, not months, about 2.5 weeks. That consistency is the tell. Real relationships don't run on a schedule. Scripts do. Here's what almost always happens inside that window, in order. Days 1 through 2, contact and a fast move off the platform. A dating app or social media comment gets redirected to WhatsApp or Telegram within 48 hours, outside the reach of any platform's fraud detection. Days 3 through 7, rapid intimacy, daily messages, shared photos, a manufactured sense of already knowing each other. This stage moves faster than any real relationship would because it has a deadline. Days 8 through 12, the obstacle appears. A deployment, a contract overseas, a family emergency, something that explains permanently why an in-person meeting can't happen yet. Days 13 through 16, a small vulnerability is shared. Not a request, a confession, a health scare, a financial strain. Something that invites you to offer help before he ever has to ask for it. Day 17 on average. The first ask arrives. And because of everything that came before it, it rarely feels like a stranger asking a stranger for money. It feels like helping someone you already trust. 17 days is short enough that the scammer hasn't spent too much unpaid time on a target who won't pay. But it's long enough to cross a specific psychological threshold, the point where a stranger starts to feel like part of your life. Behavioral researchers have a name for this: the mere exposure effect. Familiarity, repeated often enough, gets mistaken for trust, even when nothing about the relationship has actually been tested. The schedule isn't cruel by accident. It's cruel by design, tuned over thousands of attempts to find the shortest path to that threshold. This is also why the request itself is almost always small at first. $50 for a phone bill, $100 for a visa fee. Small enough that saying no feels petty. Small enough that saying yes feels like nothing. It's never about that first $50. It's about seeing whether you'll say yes at all. You don't need to wait for day 17 to test this. You can check the clock at any point. If you're at day 3 and it already feels like true love, that speed is not a compliment to your connection. It's a red flag with excellent manners. If an obstacle to meeting appears right on schedule, write down the exact day it happened. Scripted obstacles tend to show up suspiciously close to the same point every time. If a small vulnerability gets shared right before any request, that's not oversharing. That's a setup. And if the first ask, whenever it comes, is small enough that refusing feels awkward. That discomfort is the actual product being sold, not the money, your willingness to say yes. None of this requires you to distrust everyone. It requires you to notice when trust is arriving faster than it should. The clock doesn't care how it feels from the inside. It runs the same way whether you're 22 or 72. Whether this is your first relationship online or your fifth. If you're inside a conversation right now and some of this timeline sounds familiar, pause before you send anything. Not because you're being paranoid, because you're finally seeing the schedule that was always there. If money is already gone, report it at reportfraud.ftc.gov. The report doesn't just document what happened to you. It's data that helps researchers refine the very timeline you just watched. Next week, the lie that opens 24% of these cases, and it starts with 5 words.